Hi, my name is Tim Erickson, and I am here with today's Simplo by Triplo Backdrop CMS tutorial video. Today we're going to talk about content types and fields. Content types and fields is a pretty basic concept. If you're coming here and you built sites with Backdrop or Drupal 7 or 8 in the past, you probably used these concepts, and this video might not be for you. For those of you who have not done that and are new to this, well, let's jump right into it. So, content types are what they sound like. They're types of content. We're looking right now at a Simplo site that we've spun up with Backdrop. This is not Backdrop out of the box, but something similar. And we'll notice if we go to the content menu, actually I should hit content add menu, we have a couple of content types here by default. Well, we have post, page, FAQ, and web form. Backdrop, a normal installation of Backdrop would just come with a page and the post content types. So these are different types of content that you're going to want to display in different ways. And one of the real powers of Backdrop CMS is its ability for users, site editors, and builders to create custom content types with custom fields, and then have very powerful ways of displaying and filtering that content. We'll take a quick look here of the two default content types that come with Backdrop CMS, a page and a post. A page comes with just two fields, a title and a body. It's very simple to use, but not very flexible or versatile if you need to do creative things with it. For just a page on it, the idea for pages in Backdrop CMS is that it's just sort of static pages on your site. An example would be if we go here and we go to, say, the About page. And the idea is you've got a title and you've got a body field. The post content type comes with a title and the body field, but it also comes with tags and an image field. The image field here gives you more flexibility to create teasers and different displays and views of your posts where you can do different things with the images. So these extra fields just give you extra flexibility. Two other sort of theoretical or possible content types might be an event content type or a venue content type. Why would you use an event content type? You could just put the event stuff into a post or into a page. But if you create an event content type, you're able to create custom fields like a venue, a date, cost, and have validation on these fields to make sure that the date field actually contains a date, that the venue field maybe has certain characteristics, or that the cost field actually is a number and a real cost. A venue content type might have a title, a description. You'll notice both of these have descriptions instead of a body field. The venue also has an address content type, maybe an image where you could put an image of the outside image of the venue, maybe the capacity or whether or not food is available at the venue. These are all different things that you might want to be able to filter by or display differently, and by having custom fields you just have a lot more flexibility. Let's jump to a brand new sort of plain Backdrop CMS site. This is just using Backdrop CMS out of the box. And if you wanted to create a new content type, basically you'd go up here to Structure, and under Structure go to Content Types. I'm going to take the slow way this time, and you can see our two existing content types, a page and a post. I'm going to go to the post and just show you like the Manage Fields page, and we can see what I said earlier. There's a title field, a body field, a tags field, and an image field. Let's create our own content type. Let's go ahead and create that event content type and add these 5 fields, date, venue, cost. Events is going to be the name of our content type. And there's a bunch of default settings you can set for your content type with things like permissions, who's going to be allowed to create and edit this kind of content. And this can change for each different type of content. Whether or not you want each piece of content published automatically, or if you want the default to be a draft and then the user has to publish it later. You know, things like the display settings. I'm not going to go through all of these right now. That's another video. But I do recommend you sort of look through and experiment them. Anyway, so now I go ahead and I hit Save and Add Field. By default, every content type starts with a title and a body field. However, you don't need to keep, like for example, this body field. We have for our event field, we had a description instead of a body field. Well, I have two choices, one of which is I could, configure this body field and just change the label to description. That's one of my choices. The other one is that I could just delete this field, the body field. Let's just delete it and create a new one, which is description. This is particularly good if I want to, this is something I like to do, is include the content type name in the machine name. And the machine name for a field is just something that Backdrop uses internally to designate each field, so that you could have fields in different content types that have the same name, but they have different machine names, and then Backdrop tracks them by their machine name. We need to pick what field type we want, and I am going to, so that we can see the entire list of fields that are, types of fields that are available to me. So I'm going to go over these really quick. A Boolean is just a true-false field. We've got 3 different types of date fields in different formats. An email field, a file field, as opposed to an image field. These are similar, but files would be more like PDFs, whereas images are, more JPEGs, PNG files. We have a link field if you're linking to another piece of content. We have a couple of different list fields depending on how you're formatting them. A couple of different number fields. And like sometimes the reason we have 3 different types of number field is that each one has maybe different validation. So you can validate that the number is entered in the right format and display it in the right format. A term reference field is just a field that's going to refer to something, a taxonomy or a vocabulary. This is an example of that would be tags. And then we have a couple of different kinds of text fields. Just a short text field, that would be like a one-line one. A long text field. And then we have a text field that's long and with a summary. And what the summary does, I'm going to go ahead and do this, provide this text with a summary, just so we can see what that looks like. Once we have added a field, we have to save it, and then we're going to have some more choices about that field. So in this case, tell us, this is help text for the editor. This is not something end users are going to see. Always good to put some kind of help text here to help your users. I'm not going to talk too much about this right now, but Backdrop has different options for how you enter your text, and that would be talked about here. This is the how many rows you want. We have a long text field, so it's multiple rows, and we can decide, we could set this for 5 or we could set it for 50, depending on how big of a field we want to give our users. Let's just stay with the default. And here's the summary. We created the option for users to add a summary, and what this means is that the editor is going to be given the option to enter 2 descriptions, a long description and a short description. And the short description would be used in things like teasers or places where we're displaying a list of the venues, but we don't want the entire description. We just want a short version of it. And so this field type that was a long text with summary gives us that ability. Let's save that. What was our next field? We had a date field. And date, again, I'm going to add event. I'm going to say I want a date field, and then I have choices. I can do have the date field just be a text field. I can have it be a select list. I like the pop-up calendar most of the time. I hit save, and we can decide how granular we want the date to be. Do we want it to be kept to the minute, or the hour, or just the day? For an event, we probably have to go down to the minute because an event might start at 7:30. And then we can give the, how should Backdrop handle a time zone? I think in this case that the site is probably what we want to go with, because people will be entering their events in the time zone of the site. For virtual events, you would want to probably use the user's time zone. So once we've selected the date, here, that's my help text for the editor. And then I can choose different formats that I want this date to display in when it displays on the page. I'm going to go with this verbose version of that. There are ways to create your own custom formats, but that's another video. Different things about how to label it, um, and what kind of time increments. Let's go with 15-minute time increments. We don't need meetings at 7:02, right? 7, 7:15, 7:30, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and save that. I'm going to pick just a long text for the venue where the user can describe it. Hit save. We're going to be presented with some of the same choices we had before. Help text, the number of rows we want. We could put some default text in there, but we're not going to. Hit save. And I think that takes us down to one last field. We were going to have cost. So let's enter a cost field. For cost, we're going to do a decimal number field. And we have one widget type, text. Let's go ahead and hit save. And even though this is like a text field, what it does is lets us pick, for example, we want 2 decimals to the right? So basically we require 2, and we could set this to be a lower number, the total number of digits to store in the database, including those to the right. So we don't need more than 10 digits. I think none of our events are going to be that expensive. Let's save this. Some help text, we can set a minimum and a maximum number, and let's say 0 is the minimum and 1,000 is the maximum. We don't anticipate anybody doing more than $1,000. We can put a prefix on this. We want this to be dollars. It could be pounds. It could be something else. We could also add a suffix if we weren't doing cost. If this were, some other kind of measurement, we could put a suffix indicating pounds or meters or something like that afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and put a default this time. I'm going to put 000, because I think that'll be helpful for users to see that as sort of sample, and hit save. And now we've added our 5 fields for this content type. We've saved it. And now we can go under add content type, and we can see there's a new content type that wasn't there before called events. And okay, let's go ahead and add an event. We'll just do my birthday party. I'm going to type super fast here using special effects. We need a really big venue for my party. And we'll keep it free. And again, here, now the default is to have this content published immediately upon saving, but I can override that and say, no, I'm not ready, let's just save a draft. And now I'm going to get, on my event, I'm going to get a big note saying this event is unpublished. And to publish it, I just hit edit and save. And now it's been published. Here is the author's information. That's a setting we have on the content type. Description, the date, the venue, and the price. Okay, I think that's our introduction to fields. It's kind of a quick overview. There's a lot more that you can do and a lot more to explore. And I encourage you to look around. I also encourage you to look at some of the other Simplo videos on YouTube. So please have a great day, and I'll see you with the next video.